Welcome back to Let It Rip Podcast, fuckers. I'm Max Trigger. This is episode 5 or maybe 4, I'm not too sure. Joined alongside Ruben in the top left-hand corner, Byron in the top right-hand corner, last in the bottom left-hand corner, and then me, Max Trigger, the best AD carry in the league, which is now confirmed because we're able to beat Bob. So there we go, boys. Welcome, boys. How we doing?
I'm pretty good, thanks. How you doing?
I'm alive,
dude?
which is the goal. So yeah, do more.
I'm dead inside.
Good, as always. I've got the amp still. Ruben, so let's talk to you for a second, because I'm a bit unsure of what the fuck's happened with you since you left Centurion at the end of last split. Oh, yeah. So what was your adventure? Because I don't think you were going to go for Elo Thieves straight away, were you?
I was gonna coach a silver gold team, and I think nobody wanted me, so I was like, okay, never mind then. So I tried to play solo queue, and then I got brain damage, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll go back to coaching someone in VL.
Correlation.
Rock asked me to coach VGR, so I went to that. Then Dan joined the team, and 2 seconds later I was out of there, and then I went to Elo Thieves. So yeah.
So why did you leave because of Dan? What's the drama there?
Don't like Dan.
You don't like Dan.
There you go. That's the drama.
There we go.
Not a fan.
Straight to the point and honest. That's fair enough. So how much involvement have you had in Elo Thieves? Is it been like a full-on drafting coach? Obviously, you've already got Dewey and Navarian there, don't you?
Well, you see, I thought it would have been a lot more. Well, I thought when I originally went there, he said, you don't have to worry about drafting. I got that on lockdown. And then he asked me to draft, so I was like, okay, maybe I will. I started to, and then every time I'd start to do it, Shay took over, and she's just so much better than me. So I just sat back and watched her do her thing. So now I mostly just I flame people, and I do VOD reviews.
Flaming and VOD reviews. That sounds like the Ruben that we all know and love.
Yeah.
So why has Charmander not played a single game of Twitch mid yet? That's the main question.
Because I don't trust him on anything that isn't super scaling, super passive. No, it's just I don't think he plays meme picks like I do.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
I mean,
we put him on Zillion.
I'll teach him to play Twitch mid one day.
I want to see that shit on stream, preferably against WSL, because we know that shit's win rate. But that's fair enough. Obviously, Elo Thieves played against PMA on the last Thursday.
Yeah.
You had to use 2 subs, Navarian and Nyx coming in bot lane.
How
did that game go?
Well, let's just say it was disaster from start to even before it started, actually. Because we were trying to do the draft, and we couldn't really figure it out. I didn't even really know what I did. I did know who was playing, but my brain was too small to remember. And then we got into Champ Select, and I was like, okay, so they've banned Kassadin. What the fuck do we do? And then we listed like 3 champions, and it was like, no. And then locked in Cho'Gath. Okay, great.
Wait.
And so that was the end of that game. We also were going for a double mage because Shay said, which I agreed with, that it's probably best to not put him on a traditional bot lane against what I think is probably the best bot lane in VL Gold Plat. Because they just
fuck off with them eyebrows. I saw that.
Because especially against the Thresh, it would just be like, oh, he throws the hook, double kill again.
Oh, okay.
I think we avoided that a few times, but
he went heal and exhaust.
Yeah.
So your Karma went heal and your Morg went exhaust.
Yeah, we were going
against
for the
what was it? Fresh Vein.
Yeah.
You have kill pressure. I feel like you should be going ignite. Like, sure, you can go heal, but
yeah, you're correct.
I think the exhaust was kind of in.
Well, it's more. The idea was we don't want to feed last. That's our main hope. We just want to shove in bot lane and don't get him fed. And then I, on the stream, saw someone press tab and you were 10-0, and I was like, okay, maybe we gave him a few too many kills. Not too sure about that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's basically how that game was lost.
Also, Cho into Vayne. Not
okay, well that was an accident. And Charmander Nerd said he wasn't very practiced on the Cho'Gath mid, so
he did pretty well.
I'll forgive him for that. He actually did really well. Mostly, well, yes, he did well.
He almost cucked me a couple times.
He did. I saw he was like barely out of your range. You're like 200 HP a couple times. He had his ulti up, and you escaped.
There was
Right.
one fight by the blue buff. That was a complete clusterfuck.
Alright. I don't remember that. All I remember is watching his Qs be like 3 miles away every time, and then he hit
Yikes.
one and he killed someone. I clapped at that.
So, last, excluding that game against Elo Thieves where they obviously had to use 2 subs, but a pretty easy win. For some reason you got Vayne, and for some reason they picked Cho'Gath. We'll ignore that. How's the rest of the split been going for you? Obviously it was a very easy game against Elo Thieves, very easy game against WSL. Is the rest of the games been like that?
The first week, our first game, we played versus Project Unknown Crafts team, and we got our asses handed to us. Crafts Akali kind of just steamrolled our entire team, and we made our communication was completely off. But the rest of the games, most of them have been relatively even. I know we played BGR last Thursday, and that one was basically just both teams shitting the bed on equal measures, and just saw who came out on top. And I've just been playing Vlad and Yasuo bot lane the entire split so far. And he finally puts me on Vayne, and we saw how that went.
So at least we know now, if we ban Vladimir and Yasuo against PMA, and if we ban Kassadin against Elo Thieves, you might be able to pick up a win or two
No,
against
no,
us.
no. Don't do that. That's very bad of you.
I'm a Vlad entrepreneur.
Yeah, that was a fucking well boring lane, I've got to say. I was like, finally, I get to play AD carry against Last. This is it. I can finally prove I'm a better AD carry. Oh, it's picked Vladimir, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I would run at you with Crimson Rush, and you would just always spell shield it because I'm dog at the champion.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so he's walking towards me as his Q is on full stack. E. Oh, he pressed Q. Yay. Fun and interactive gameplay on the Sivir versus Vladimir bot lane. Byron, how much have you seen of GP so far? Is it just been the games that you've not casted that you've watched, or like what's the crack?
Yeah, I haven't really seen much of GP as like in terms of this, but I've heard a lot of things. Obviously, I'm in the VR community, so you pick up a lot of little things. In terms of the whole league, I mean, I haven't unfortunately been able to catch a lot of games because I've on Thursdays I've had a few availability issues. Just kind of why I went into casting was because there were going to be like half the days of the split I was screwed on Thursdays, half the days I would have been screwed on Mondays. So really, like, it says a GP. I don't know an insane amount, but I know a lot about different players, of course, like from last split and from how I've kind of played against them. What I can say is that PMA as the best team right now, you know, I can see that, to be honest. And from looking at their players, I mean, you look at a player like Laudio, for example, last, and it's just like they're so incredibly consistent. I think that's the important thing is that like there are a lot of players I watch in GP who have this big pop off potential, but then just kind of int a few games. And you can't just int. That isn't not going to work. And with Laudio and Last, I don't think I've seen that from them really, and that much at all, which is it's a big testament. And that's what I kind of rate in a player a lot more than the big pop-offs. It's can they keep up form week on, week out without getting exploited by someone else.
Well, you haven't seen Ryan's solo queue yet.
Hey! If it ain't scrims or if it ain't games, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Solo queues of practice.
Incriminating pictures.
Last, when Spawners isn't on Scion, and when the coin lands on Tails for Fatman Gandhi, is your team as consistent as Byron says it could be?
I would say Spunners is a good guy, and his champ pool.
Wait, we have to start off this. Yeah, Spinner's a good
His
guy.
champ
You know
pool
things are about to go
is
downhill.
good. His champ pool is good. He can play a lot of. He plays with Scion. He's also played Tryndamere a lot. And he knows that if he loses lane, he can still be. He knows still how to be useful. Like when we put him on Shen, he didn't win lane at all. I mean that was obvious. I think it was against Renekton, but he still found ways to get into the game and still help out the team. I would say our coin flip is more on Ryan or Lordio in the jungle. I mean Gandhi, of course, sometimes he misses bindings or he gets hooked. I mean that's just natural, right? And we're like, I feel like sometimes I need to make the plays more than like the jungler. I don't know. I'm kind of egotistical in that way. But I would say Ryan sometimes doesn't throw games, but he can kind of tilt the balance, especially if we're a late game comp and he really wants to go for those early dives, for example.
So
But I mean,
it's kind of the situation where it doesn't matter who the rest of the players are in the game. Ryan will either win the game or he'll lose the game. Is that what you're saying? Because like against WSL, his silence was the thing that won you the game, unquestionably.
yeah, he has undoubtable carry potential, but also he can anti-snowball. He can snowball us to losing. But I think I could say that about all of the players on our team, and that's what makes us strong. If we can, if
we will lose
harness,
hard
for him.
together.
if we can harness the power to not die repeatedly, then we just snowball the game.
All right. So wait, you think Lordia is the worst player on your team? Is that what you're telling me?
No, God no.
Who's the worst player?
Looney.
Fabio, second coach.
Yeah.
Worst in terms of what?
Overall, let's just do overall.
Worst
Overall?
gameplay.
Gameplay?
Yeah.
I'd have to give it to my boy Gandhi. Deep down in my heart, you know I love you, but supports are just supports sometimes.
I don't know.
I know how you feel. Okay, an important question then is for both Ruben and Last, looking at your teams. For me, you've kind of got obvious strengths in terms of where you're strong. So for me, if you were to ask the vast majority of players and ask them who's the best jungler and ask them who's the best AD carry, over 50% of people will most likely say Dewey and Last respectively. Whether people agree with that or not, I think that's what people would say. So does that then say that Elo Thieves are going to be the best early game team and that PMA are going to be the best late game team? And would you then say that in every single game, Elo Thieves are going to get the early game advantage, even if they can't snowball or lose in the mid game or throw? And then in every game, if that game hits 40 minutes, then PMA are going to win?
No.
No, I wouldn't say that. Because the one thing that the issue with Dewey is, which even he's an incredibly good jungler. We saw it in Silver Gold last month, and we're seeing it now. But he needs priority in his lanes to try and execute his kind of win conditions. If you just plonk on a Nivea in the mid lane and like just have all these fucking dog champ lanes all across the map, and you just sit there and you stall out the game and you just maintain a push. For me, I don't know if Dewey can deal with that kind of strategy. Admittedly, no one wants to do that. It kind of hampers the way you play a lot of the time. But in my opinion, if you want to beat Dewey, you don't want to just try and outright shut him down. You shut down his lane so that he doesn't have the freedom to go and move about, going to the enemy jungle, make all these plays. Shut down his enemy, shut down the lanes, get priority there, and then use that to attack him there.
So what you're saying is a team of Byron Villas will beat Dewey in the jungle.
I'll tell you what,
Yes.
I like Byron's strategy. I want to see every mid laner picking a Nivea. Just give us some free wins first.
I mean, yeah, Nivea in fives, like I'm supposed to be in Nivea main, like most play champion, but like I couldn't pull that off in fives. I don't know what it is about the pick that I just couldn't do. But I think trying to be active early game with a Nivea in a team is just so difficult. And it just has to fit in with like a game plan. Otherwise, the Nivea is just kind of a useless pick.
It allows you
Maybe.
to keep your mid lane turret alive, I suppose, is the main point of the champion. But yeah, go on, Last. If the game hits 40 minutes, are you going to win the game?
I would say PMA is the splice of VL. We don't you dare. We have really good late game, and that's because I would say our weakest point is our macro and communication, especially in the early game.
Agreed.
And sometimes Splice, they win the early game, and that just the game's basically over there. But most of the time, they get it to 40 minutes, and then they just steamroll the enemy team in the last team fight. That's their strong suit. I feel like that's our strong suit. But I feel like one of the best ways to just delete Dewey from the entire game is, well, one, of course, tracking. Tracking a jungler is always going to happen, and if you can really pull that off, most people in this elo aren't going to try and like throw you off their scent. They're just going to maybe do a fake leash, maybe go to the opposite buff or something like that. But most of the time, you should be able to track them with maybe a deep ward or just lane ganks or seeing them in lane. But one of the best ways I would say to shut down Dewey, and the reason he's been doing so well in most of this, the splits, is wave management. A lot of especially bot laners haven't really thought about wave management up till the GP League, and if you can set a freeze up against Dewey, especially let's say he's in bot side jungle and we set up a freeze against him, he's not going to be able to do anything. He's just going to continue farming jungle, maybe go top side, and then they set up a freeze, and then he's just going to jump back and forth.
Would you say that's accurate, Ruben? Because for
Nah.
me, before, well, no is very much what I'd say too. I don't think Dewey ganks. I think all Dewey does is dives. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, Charmander, let's go bot lane. Oh, you got casted in, Twisted Fate, let's go. Come on. Oh, good luck, Simba.
I mean, to be fair, I think if you did that, Joey would just get free scuttle grabs of like constantly bottom lane, and then he'd just get free dragon. I think that's probably what he did.
That's the point of wage management. It's like balancing getting priority and freezing if you're tracking the jungler. But definitely, I would say tracking Dewey is the one way to shut him down.
The one thing I feel when I play against Dewey is I think my brain is never more proactive than when I play against Dewey, because I'm thinking about every single thing that I do. So let's take what you've said into account. Okay, Scuttle Crab is not spawning for another 1 minute 30 seconds. We're going to freeze. It's spawning in 30 seconds. We're going to start pushing. Okay, I've got prio. Oh shit, I've just been ganked. And I think that's the main issue, is that I don't know if there's a jungler that can match what Dewey does. And I don't know if he's just good mechanics. I don't know if he's got insane macro to know where to be at all places of the map. I don't know if he's just controlling his fucking players like a chessboard and making sure that the game goes exactly as he intends. I don't know what makes it work for him. But I don't know if there's a jungler that can match that. And I think that's why it's impossible to shut him down. Because as a jungler, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
I think Joey's like the Mike Tyson of League of Legends. Because everyone's
Don't
just so
fucking start.
intimidated to fight him. But as soon as they go into a match against him, they've already lost. Because they're just shitting their pants thinking, okay, this guy's the best jungler. I'm definitely going to lose. And then I feel that he doesn't do anything particularly special. He does play like weird picks, and he plays them well, or like difficult picks that most people don't play. But I don't think he does anything like, from what I've seen, I don't think it's anything like too special. He's pretty good with macro though. That's the thing that sets him apart, I assume, from most junglers, especially mid and late game. He's pretty good.
I remember. I don't know what game it was. I played against Dewey once, and I was filling jungle, and
Right.
I think I agree with you on that point, because I didn't have a problem versus him. I wasn't even. I mean, admittedly, I was playing Poppy, like Giga Dog Champ, but like I think he was playing Jarvan. But I don't think he's as good as people say. There's different ways to shut him down. Like, my personal way, if it was a team of Byrons, it'd be to play the Byron style, just dog champ it out, and then fight in late game. But like, it all depends on what's happening in the game, and really, like the reason Dewey's is perceived so much better than anyone else is not only his history in amateur leagues. Like, you saw him in Rivals, he was kicking ass there. That's a plat league. Became silver gold, kicked ass there, and I was kicking ass here in gold plat. He has gonna have that aura about him. When over years he's had the kind of like list of second place in Rivals, had to be kicked out silver gold because he's just that good. And gold plat, he's looking really good as well. Like, when you have that kind of history behind you, you're gonna have that aura. But really, like the best way to beat Dewey is, like you said, just not be intimidated by him and play a style that suits you the best, and that's what you can really do. There isn't like a specific shut down Dewey game plan like there would be against, like, for example, me, which would be pick scaling and then just watch me cry. Like, there isn't going to be that specific thing that shuts down Dewey. It's going to be just being better players, because his game understanding is huge. You're not going to like be able to pull out something and him not know what to do. It's just going to be being better players in the day.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say the way to shut down Dewey is to just not be bad. Like, that's what you got to do. Is just not be a shitter.
There you go, guys. If you lose to Dewey, you're just bad. Fantastic. Flame that you only walk into yourself.
Well, according to you, Drigger, all AD carries are bad.
That's true. That's true. I still stand by it, because I don't think I'm great. But I just think everyone else is fucking dog tier. And sometimes I'll lose, sometimes I'll win. But genuinely,
I think that's most players.
Well, I don't know the role. I don't know the other roles well enough to be able to judge them. I suppose that's the main issue. Yeah, I don't. I'll repeat what I said in the podcast. To be honest, I don't think there is a single AD carry in the league, including yourself. Even though you get as much fucking praise as you do, that really knows what they're doing in laning phase.
Oh God, no.
And it's just like the only person who I've ever seen who truly has is DD, and that is the only game where I've actually felt in a matchup where I could have won that I couldn't CS. And it was just like, wow, okay, this is mental. And granted, I think Oscar's a really underrated support. When I was trying out for Ike, I thought, wow, this guy's... I think he's the best support in the league at playing around his AD carry. I think other supports offer more. I think when you look at what Bramwich does across the map, like this guy ganked top playing at 2 minutes for some fucking reason. But it works, and you know, there you go. But Oscar, for me, is just that perfect support for playing around the AD carry. And I think if this core Billy is as good as Ike think he is, I think Ike's bot lane could be a really, really solid 2v2. We'll just see how it goes. But yeah, no, DD had Oscar, but despite that, I don't think really there's another AD carry that can do what he did in terms of trading stance, knowing how to utilize cooldowns correctly, controlling the minion wave to know when to fight and how to fight. It was just insane. But that's the reason why I said what I said. And I think it's still true now. Granted, if it's late game and you're playing Vayne last, I think you're probably going to win every single game. But but you know, that's the difference. Just get me on Sivir, boys. Let me right click and press E. It's fucking easy.
Yeah, Sivir duty for you.
Yeah.
No, but
it's going to get banned now.
that's the thing with most AD carries that say they're, you know, like hard stuck gold or... Oh, I think most people, if they just learn how to control the wave, you can fucking climb easy peasy. Because most people, like, even in my ranked games now in Platinum, they're like stepping up to minions that they definitely shouldn't be stepping up to. If you're playing something like Caitlyn, you can get like 2 autos off. And that's, you know, 100 HP from them gone, and then maybe they go for an all-in, and that's 100 HP less for you to go through. It's just small things. If you can, like, master getting small ticks of damage for free, you should be able to win lane.
Well, that's when you're playing Caitlyn.
Yeah, well, I mean, it even counts for other things. Like, of course, it doesn't have to be something like Ezreal, which is a poke comp. But if a Kai'Sa if you're playing Kai'Sa and somebody steps up for a minion and they're in Q range, auto Q is going to outtrade their normal auto attack. Just out trading somebody.
And they won't also auto attack you anyway because they're auto in the minion. So you just got free damage off her. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'll be honest. I made the role swap to top lane now because, you know, dog champs. You know, I'm now in the lane for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've got mid ain't for me, but top lane, I don't know what it is, but I think in mid lane it was a lot harder to punish people for stepping up. So you had the ranged abilities, but like because of like the amount of things that people are able to throw out so quickly in the mid lane, like the hyper wave that kind of exists, it's hard to kind of do so. Whereas if I'm sat there playing Garen in top lane and someone steps up for CS, I'm gonna kick their ass. Like and I found it's a lot easier to punish people in top lane than it is in mid lane. I don't know whether that's because the level of play in top lane is just overall worse, or whether it's because of like the style of champions or whatever.
Yeah, I would say they're melee.
Yeah, I would say it's 2 reasons. It's one because most mid laners are mages, right? And most mages are ranged, and most top laners are melee. And another reason is that mid lane is shorter, so I would say it's harder to like specifically try and keep the minions exactly where you want them.
Yeah, that's valid. I mean, it's just been weird because it's like I've had all these years playing mid lane, move to top lane, I'm already like going at ranks and finding success. It's just one of those things.
That's it, dude. You stop playing Karma mid.
Now I can play Karma top.
Start playing Aatrox.
Yeah, well, okay. You almost had my respect for a second, but
oh,
no, I mean, my mains are currently Garen and Nasus, and you're implying you have respect.
I'm okay with those. Those are manly champs.
Hey, if you go Spear of Sojin Nasus, you have my respect.
Okay, don't do that. He's gonna make you drop 100 LP.
So, how far do you reckon PMA can go with this split? Do you think you're gonna top the league, go to playoffs, win playoffs? Not saying you're not gonna drop a game, but do you think you've got the most potential as well as the best foundation to start from?
I think if we can get through Project Unknown again, like the same way we did Elo Thieves, I think we're set there. Because right now, the only team we're looking out for is Bob and Project Unknown. We still haven't played Bob yet, actually. But Project Unknown, that's where we got our ass handed to us most. VGR, they can also do really well, but they didn't play that great on that game. We still haven't played Ike. Not 100% sure. But I know they've been doing well as well. So I think if we can win 50% of the games versus the people that are also looking really well, I think we can make it to final.
I mean, you're very lucky to play arguably the best team. There's a lot of arguably best teams, but arguably the best team in Elo Thieves when they didn't have Dewey and Sean. So
Yeah.
it would have been a very different game if they had, an actual bot lane and an actual jungler in. that
Joey
game.
was there.
Yeah, Dewey was playing Talia.
Oh, was he
Yeah.
playing that game?
But our support
got banned.
was on holiday, and our ADC.
He got banned for.
He was
obvious reasons.
unlucky. I think he had a finger spasm on his keyboard. Or
Oh
something.
yeah.
Hacking.
He had to go from right top and then left again.
Yeah, like he wanted to press F but missed, and then his right hand just fucking went crazy on the right hand side of the keyboard, and
he typed the entire Declaration of
Trigger,
Independence.
didn't that happen to you when you were Rivals owner?
I was never Rivals
Oh.
owner. I was Rivals admin. I was head caster before Ollie took it.
Yeah, OJD came in and then he dropped out.
Yeah, OJD was just a knobhead. Yeah, I went a bit mad, but we won't talk about how shit Kree was as a head owner. He knows. And how shit I am as an admin, and there's a reason that I'm not ever going to take any authoritative position again in any league, because I can't handle power well. No, that's just
That way
me.
he played AD carry.
Well, maybe. Maybe it is. That's fair enough. So let's talk about the casting for a bit, Byron. So
Hey.
I spoke to you the other day about what your goals are. You're more about the products than you are about just letting anyone really have a chance.
Yeah.
You want it to be. You've got some solid casters that are there. You've got some new guys who you think could be good, and you're really just trying to make every stream as good as possible in terms of the quality of the cast, and not have any situations where you've got a random guy who can barely speak English shouting down a mic, which, let's face it, nobody really wants to watch. The amount of times I had to mute the stream last play was actually unreal, and that does say a lot.
Giga Flame.
Hey, no one knows particularly who I'm talking about, and even if they do, he's not here anymore, so it's fine.
Alright,
you know-
that guy's clown.
Harshy.
So what is kind of the long-term ambition for you in VL and beyond that? Because I know you're casting for other places as well.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I'm trying out a lot of casters right now who I kind of had interviews with, had chats with, and I know like they have a lot of potential, and it's seeing whether I can unlock that. I think there are certain casters already who have shown that. I think people have warmed to Mythic Warpig. He's been fantastic for when he's been casting, and the fact that he hasn't casted before and he's walked in and he's been a very, very, very good caster, like it's impressed me, and I already saw that potential. And it's like trying to find little people like that who really do have that kind of potential. And it's a shame I've had to put people on the substitute bench who have proven themselves and are decent casters in their own right. But I thought it was better at the start, give people who could have that potential a shot. And then I think mid-split, I might do some little switcheroos to kind of balance it out, make sure we have a good quality set of casters. And the thing is, people like my issue that I had last split was that people were asking for so much, but there was no organization behind it. Like straight up, there was just no scheduling, like nothing of that sort, no prep given to any of the casters. Like, admittedly, I've not been on the best thing right now. I've been quite last minute with a lot of stuff. But even then, I'm giving people like a day's notice.
Yeah.
But I don't want that. Ideally, I'd want it to be like a week's notice, but I have work, unfortunately. So when I get like a clean set of days off, I'll get it all sorted. But like,
even then, with the week's notice, shit changes, doesn't it? I was about to say, this is
Yeah.
only amateur casting. So, to talk about it a little bit more, I know when I first joined CL, I kind of had ambitions to be a caster. That was something that I thought I'd be able to do. Granted, then I realised, nah, fuck that shit, that takes effort. Is that something that you've got a long-term ambition to do? Because I know you've just finished college, you're going into uni next year, aren't you? Obviously, if anything, it's like the perfect time to start getting into that shit. Is that what you're going to be going for?
well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are certain things at a null, for example, a National University Esports League that I'll hopefully be aiming for. But you know, I'm happy where I've worked in a lot of leagues already, and aside from been casting for like a year and a bit, I've worked in Rivals, SQ1, Equinox, here of course, the Steam Gold Invitational. Like I've had a lot of different leagues that I've casted, and having that kind of experience and having a lot of networking, which is very important in casting, has helped me a ton because there are so many people I know now who can help me out and give me opportunities, and that's very helpful. Now, obviously, I want to do it as a career. I'd love to one day be an elite caster working up there. That'd be fantastic. Now, I'm quite a realist, so right now I'm like, that probably won't happen, but it's worth giving it a shot. And so, I still want to look to, improve my casting every day, get that feedback. And it's hard when you're in a place like VL where there, no offense to people, there haven't really been anyone like with that kind of casting experience behind them. It's hard to kind of have people give you that criticism and say, oh, you should probably be doing this. I don't like this about you, when they kind of almost put you on a high horse, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
I want to hear that from people a lot of the time. If you think there's something wrong in my casting, please let me know, because it's something I want to improve on. If viewers are very, very good at spotting a problem, and then they're not very good at spotting why that problem exists, but they'll spot when something's wrong. So
Yeah.
if people have any feedback about the stream, about any casters or anything, please feel free to hit me up and let me know which casters you like, which casters you dislike, why don't you like the person's style, is there anything particular this person's doing you don't like. I want that feedback. Please send it me, because it can only help the stream in the long run and help people improve their casting overall. But because as much as it's harsh, I mean, people need to tell you your shit when you're shit, and that was hard for me to get around in my Rivals days. But I'm glad I started in Rivals, because when you start in such a, no offense to Rivals community, bit toxic, like they certainly went in, and to be able to have that honesty when you start casting, it kind of helps you deal with feedback. And it's very important to be able to hear people say, I actually didn't like what you did there. You probably shouldn't be doing that. And to hear that and kind of explain your side to them and explain why you do that kind of thing, but then reflect on whether it is a good thing to do in your casting. Like, that kind of feedback is integral to keeping a stream going. And my focus right now isn't on, we can do some interviews or like a post-game podcast or something like that. Like, I'm all about, can I get quality casting happening before any of all that? Because ultimately that's what's important.
That's fair. I mean, I suppose you're a little bit unfortunate to not be around in the CL days, because for those who were around at the time, there was two main casters that everyone loved watching. That was Doctor and that was Cradden. Everyone loved them too. They were always the two biggest casters. And they took very different routes. Cradden, I don't know if he does much casting outside of these amateur leagues now, but he was always like the most popular guy around in the communities. Everyone loves Cradden. Even now, I think everyone loves Cradden in real, even though not a lot of new people know who he is and what he's all about and that. Whereas Doctor took the path of doing these casts for loads of different places, and I seen him casting shit that he's getting paid for now, and I'm sure one day he's going to end up making it to like the UK league or something, or Masters or something. I can only see that's going to be a natural path for him if he continues it. So I suppose it's a bit of a shame you weren't around in CL days to kind of have a word with him, Counterfeit, and a couple of the others who were able to get that experience.
I mean, Counterfeit's my caster coach. Like,
oh, is he?
I ain't those guys. Don't you worry.
There you go. You got Counterfeit, and that's sorted.
Hit him up on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, like I missed out on the CL days, but I just pipped it in Rivals, because there were still some people like Counterfeit and Greyheart who I've met and I'm very good friends with.
Yeah.
And having those kind of people around is very useful, because they have that experience behind them, and to be able to learn from them, it's great to kind of have that kind of figure around and to be friends with. Because a lot of people when starting out casting, you kind of sit there and you don't really know how to get into it. And to be able to give it an opportunity is very nice, and to have experience around you can only help in that kind of regard.
So, okay then, what would you say? Say someone out there watching the Let It Rip podcast wants some top tips from a top caster in VL. What would you say to them?
Okay, so if someone's completely new to casting, the first thing you need to do is start casting. I don't care if it's like you're casting like a random solo queue game, you're just gonna jump into it, no recording or anything. Just do it. Like that's the first starting point. Is if you want to do casting, you need to do casting. That's kind of the groundwork, and it's a hard hurdle to get around. Like Rook, who you'll see casting, the only reason I'm here right now is because he pushed me to start casting in Rivals and said, "Oh, there's opportunities here," and the fact that he was able to push me to go make that jump is why I'm able to do casting like I am now. So if you want to cast, the first thing you need to do is get out there and cast, and no one's going to judge you if you're bad at the start, because people aren't always going to fit into the role of caster at the start. Like, I know when I started casting, I was atrocious. Like, well, at least obviously in my opinion, but I couldn't speak. I was like stuttering all over the place. I was murmuring. I didn't know what the hell I was on about. Like, those are the things that get fixed over time. Don't worry about that for now. Just get out there and do it. Past that, it's about shoring up those weaknesses and then getting some confidence, because if you're confident in what you're saying, it might be a bit bullshit, but people will believe it. Trust me.
Yeah.
So as long as you have that confidence and you're entertaining, because entertaining is a lot more important in the cast than being educational, at least in my opinion. So to be able to go out there and to entertain people and to just be a little bit confident, be yourself, enjoy yourself, like that's what casting's all about. So pro tip, get into casting, just do it and then enjoy it, pretty much.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the amount of times I hear someone say some shit on stream, and I'm like, this guy's no idea what he's fucking on about, but I respect that he's trying.
Yeah, see?
Just watch my casts and do the exact opposite.
Well, I've never seen you cast, but I
That's
look
probably
forward
a
to
good
seeing
thing.
that if that's some a place to get some clips for
So
the OVL server.
we'll jump to you again, Ruben, in terms of Elo Thieves and where you think they're going to end up. So
All right.
looking at the split, who are your main contenders, really? Obviously, Last touched on it a little bit himself. Who do you think really that you're not scared of, but think you could potentially drop a game here?
Well, to be honest, I think it depends on how good I am at coaching people, really, because I think everyone except PMA is garbage. So actually, maybe Ike. I don't know who's in Ike. Oh, Ike's dopa student. Okay, Ike maybe. So
Who's
Ike
Ike's
and
AD carry?
Cold Billy, he's a random.
Oh yeah.
Chose
I
him
don't know
over
who
me.
that is, but
Still salty about it, but then I fucking smashed him in lane.
yeah. Just because I got dopa student, and I think he actually has like at least some of a brain, whereas most people in gold plat don't. So, and then they've got Wanty, which I've heard some people think he's very good. So,
Yeah.
and then
Literally-
PMA has got Looney, and they've got some other people. I'm not gonna name any names, but they got some people on their team
We have
that
Dave.
I've heard are good. Yeah, Dave, my favorite.
Dave. Our mid laner's name is actually Dave. So
All right, fair enough. But yeah, apart from that, I think it's more down to me on whether I can get everyone to play the game to the level I expect them to play at, basically.
So, which that says to me you're going to be in the top 3. Comes to
Yep.
playoffs, you think you're the difference between whether Elo Thieves come 3rd or 1st?
No, I think well, no, that's not true. No, because it's a team effort. It's a two-way thing. It's not just well, okay. It'll be my fault if we don't get into playoffs, and then I think top 3. I'm okay with that. I'm happy with that. I think at that point it's just like you roll the dice, and if the enemy team's sandbagger is better than your sandbagger, you win. I think that's how VL gold plat is at the moment. So yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I know when we were playing against Ike, it was very much just kill Wanty and we'll win, and then we killed Wanty and we won, and it was like, yeah, okay, that's fine. I suppose it's then which role's more OP, jungle, mid, or AD carry? Let's find out.
Yeah. Well. All right. I won't comment on that, but
well,
I don't think. Well. Okay. No. I'll leave it there.
Well, there's also debates around PUK. Obviously, their jungler Olu seems like he's the main carry for them.
You mean how he just instantly went to plat 2? That's interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think he. I mean, from the game I watched, I think they played pretty bad, but I think we just did slightly worse, and so we lost. I can't actually remember how we. Oh yes, Stone played Cloud, and Merch hadn't really played into Cloud much.
Yeah,
I think
Clad's kind of the perfect merged counter as a champion, really, with the champions he plays.
Oh, I still want to be happy with that. He loves a good carry performance.
I don't know. I actually don't remember the game. I'll be honest, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean.
coach, by the way.
I'm not a good coach.
The thing with PUK is their very first game that they ever played together. Even though they had Kismid instead of Kraft, because Kraft was still on holiday. Obviously, I was trying out for mid at the time because I hadn't made my decision on where I was going to be. And they'd played a 2 or 3 game scrim, and I saw I didn't see the game. I only saw the match results, and I just looked at the KDAs and thought, "You're playing against a well-established team here. How the fuck did that happen?" and you just look
Yeah.
at Ollie playing Olaf, and alright, okay. And then game 2, exactly the same thing. It's alright, okay. And then from what we've heard, it's been very much the same as they've played. So we'll see what happens with that one. He can really say. I don't know the geezer at all, but
Olu's Vi is pretty crazy, from what I can tell.
But it's interesting because I didn't. Okay, I've just looked at the screenshot from the game, so I remember it a bit better now. And it's interesting because I don't think he did anything that interesting. I'm pretty sure like he got a really good score, but he didn't do anything. It was more that we lost ourselves the game. They didn't do anything special.
Yeah, I would
We
say it was
just
the
inted.
same way for our loss versus PUK. We just weren't up to snuff. We weren't in shape, basically.
Yeah.
well, after scrimming with you guys on PMA, it seemed like your big issues were how to work as a team. Really, like you're undoubtedly good players, but when I was filling in, it was just like, what's going on here? Obviously, you
You
weren't.
scrimmed when I was gone, mate.
Well, yeah, obviously with you being there, that adds the extra voice that was maybe needed. So that may have been part of the reason that they just haven't had the practice. But when I heard about the game with Elo Thieves against PUK, that was Dewey actually got the early game advantage over Olu, didn't he? And then
Yeah.
he was still able to try and turn that around. So maybe that says something that as a jungler who fell behind, he was still able to do something. But yeah, I mean,
Sure.
full circle to what Dewey was able to do to just further the meme of Dewey and forwards. Which
Yeah.
which I'm sure all the boys on the old peg roster will love to hear. Last, have you got ADHD or something? What's going on? I'm just watching your camera and you just fucking ream me out.
I always have something to fiddle with my hands. I guess you could say that.
That's fair enough. What fucking
That's why I play right click champions. I just
fucking spam the button.
fucking spam, yeah.
So you both think that you're gonna win the split. I don't know who I genuinely think is gonna win, to be honest.
It's gonna be Bob.
Bob, let's go.
No, if as soon as Bob win a game, it's just gonna be steamroll from there.
Well, they just need to realise that their AD carry is by far their best player on their team. So as soon as they start to play around festive, they're gonna start winning games. Because the AD carry is genuinely quite a good player. The rest of the team, last year you've cut out by the way. The rest of the team doesn't seem. You're back now. It's fine. The rest of the team is just kind of a little bit below average. You don't really know how to play together as a 5. But if they play around their AD carry, if this guy's on something like just a jinx and just gets fed, he can win games. So we lost a scrim against Bob. I'll fucking put my hands up for that one. We ended up beating him in the league game. But yeah, he's a good player. And it's just kind of seeing what Bob can do about that one. But I don't know who I genuinely think is going to win the split, because there's no team that genuinely stands out as, yeah, these guys are the best. And if
there's no TSB this split.
Yeah, there is no just random 5 solo queue players that are just slapping kids.
Yeah.
And if anything, the closest thing to that is PUK. But it's just seeing really what they can do, and if Olu is genuine and stays with the league. Obviously, Glenn and Joyce are admins.
Alright, what are you saying there, Drake?
Well, I'm saying there's a high chance that if anyone in the league's a Smurf in GP, it's probably him. Just as the same as Silver Gold, it's probably Pickles Man. Just because they've come from nowhere and they're popping the shit off. That's kind of how Smurfs tend to work. Alex Swede, cough, cough.
Dude, my 10 and 80 curse.
Yeah. So it's seeing whether that goes, but obviously Josie and Glenn are admins and they're best friends with Valk, so I can't see anything genuinely happening there. But, we'll see. But outside of them, I suppose I can only assume that PMA have got the most potential just because of Looney. I think I've never seen a coach as good as Looney in an amateur league in terms of actually putting the effort in. I know you've got your opinions on Looney, Byron, and you can talk about them in a second. But for me, I've never seen a coach actively put that much effort in. I don't agree with everything he says, but I think he's got his pathway that he wants his team to take. He's willing to be patient with that, and he's willing to put a lot of effort in to make sure they understand. I mean, I've never seen another coach make his team go into practice hall for 3 hours and just repeat the same shit over and over again.
I can tell you right now, I learned more with 3 months, in 3 months with Looney than I have playing League for 4 years. Just like the amount of shit he puts you through and how honest he, like brutally honest he is with like what you're doing wrong and why. It's actually kind of helps you like set your mind to what you need to improve on, and that definitely helped me.
I mean,
Go on,
obviously,
Byron.
I have my opinions on Looney's coaching style. I think it does work when you have 5 participants who are committed, like fully committed to being the best VL team, and they really want to just improve themselves. And if you have that kind of feeling about you and you really want to be the best, Looney will get that out of you. And I'll say that right now. Like, I think in a VL environment where people don't take it as seriously, that's where Looney kind of falters, because I feel like if someone on his team doesn't really care that much, he will have friction with them. He definitely will, because he expects a level from you. Like, whereas I feel like if you have players who are hungry and really want to be the best, he'll, like I say, he's happy to sit with you and help you out of anything, like in terms of his league. Like, I think the only difference is the amount of commitment he expects is very hard to find in an amateur league. But there are certain players who are going to be able to, get the most out of that. I think last year, an example, we were doing very well with it. But someone like me who kind of plays it would want to play more casually and just kind of like, sure, play to win, but not like set 3 hours in practice schools, like practicing different skill shots and shit. Like, I just want to play the game, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think 3 hours of practice tool, but I mean, sometimes he does take us into custom games before VL games and like does 10 minutes of wave management. But I mean, he's definitely extremely demanding, and I've seen when some people are like, no, I don't really want to do that. He just kind of, you can feel him staring through the monitor, kind of just excuse me.
Because I think even some members of PMA don't want to do it. But I don't think there's any major clashes. And now I think
No.
it might depend on day-by-day basis and play-by-play basis. I'm not saying one person all of the time, but it's some people some of the time.
I mean, I think he's loosened up a lot, like especially through the split. Like when he was coaching for TE, he would want us to do freezing. I think it was like every other day, just like go into a custom game for 10 minutes and do freezing. And for some days, I just either didn't feel like doing that or didn't really feel like I had time, and it got clapped.
Right,
but
Vladimir duty. Let's go, last.
yeah, right. But over time, I mean, he's loosened up, but that doesn't inhibit his coaching potential at all. But I feel with the right team, I feel like he could loosen up enough that he could still help you improve, but still like be relatively for fun. I mean, I think we're all still playing for fun, but especially for me, I think it's really fun to improve. So
That's fair enough. Byron, based off the different coaches you've had, obviously your experience with the 100 Cobra and Hyper probably being the main one, but obviously anything else you've experienced as well. Would you say it's better to have 5 good players playing with a coach who adapts to the players, or 1 good coach with 5 okay players who adapt to what the coach wants?
You see that it depends on what play. Like, that's a really tough question because it depends on the players. Because like, if you're have like one really good coach, but you're stuck with 5 very rigid playstyle kind of players, it can be hard to kind of get the most out of that team. Because for example, 100 Club is a great example, right? You saw us when we had DD, we had a very clear identity, which was play around DD. It worked very well because of the styles we kind of played when we played Dog Champs. Then when Bao came in, he isn't that kind of AD carry. He's very much more of a late game oriented AD carry who isn't going to just smash lane, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. He worked very well on Dewey's team because he was able to fill that role. The issue is that when Bao moved in, we all had these very rigid playstyles set up, and then all of a sudden it kind of got changed, and we had to try and adapt. And trying to do that was very, very difficult. So I think it's a lot better to have 5 good players, and the coach kind of adapts to what they can do, rather than just have like these very rigid play styles that are hard to kind of make anything of when they kind of counteract each other.
See, because I think if Looney was here, he'd say that having a good coach would make a player lose any rigid play style. He would teach these players how to play carry champions and safe champs, and how to manipulate the wave to play safe, and how to manipulate the wave to play aggro. I think that's what Louis Aiken would be, in the fact that a good coach would get the best, would make an okay player great because the team would be great. I think that's where his argument would probably lie if he was defending himself.
Yeah,
Where
I
do you-
mean, I guess it depends on what kind of angle you view it at, because it depends what the coach wants to do. Because if they're looking very player focused, Cybres I'll give a lot of props for, because I'll be honest, before he joined Undercover as a coach, I didn't actually have that much respect for him as a player. Like, sure, he got flat, but because of my kind of play style, I never had issues versus Cyrez. Like, I'll be honest, like I won lane against him most of the time. Like, I never really had many issues. But what he taught me about mid lane and like the few kind of days we had him as a coach helped so much about how to force people to like take damage and everything, or to attack minions. So then when to push, when to not push, like things like that. I was able to take on board, and having a good learner is also very important. Like you will have players like under Cobra, like little secret. The reason why Hyper left in the end wasn't because Didi left. It was because there were certain players who just didn't want to put the hours in and were just there to play casually. They didn't care really about improving that much.
Name names.
And I ain't naming names because that's harsh.
So it wasn't
Byron
DD,
ain't no
it
snitch.
wasn't DD. I'm
Yeah.
assuming it's not you, so it's either Stoned, Slacking, or Oscar.
I'm
So
not naming names.
was it all three, or?
I'm
It's
not
got what?
naming names.
It's
Trigger.
definitely at least Stone, because he's
Not
got
names.
real life commitments. You know,
Yeah, I
he
think-
doesn't want to be sitting there grinding the game all day.
Yeah. So based off that conversation, Ruben, obviously you're now in a coaching position, the only one of the four of us that are.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on the role of coaching? Is there obvious ways that you think you could improve? Does the players within Elo Thieves provide different obstacles to mean that you can't do exactly what you want to do in terms of how you'd want to take control, or what's kind of your opinion on coaching in general and how it kind of applies to you and your team?
I think some of them are not very good at following rules that I give them. If I say, "Hey, practice these 3 champions," and then he says, "I've been practicing Pantheon all day," that is not one of the champions I told you to play. That's not what I want to hear. And then I look at his matches; it's like 5 losses in a row. Okay, never mind. But I think they're all doing they're moving in the right directions. Like they've I have a very like step-by-step process, which is to like improve communication first, because it's like the most important thing. If everybody knows what everyone's doing, it's a lot easier to just play as a team.
Agreed.
Then late game macro, I think, is pretty important, because a lot of games just fall flat when you just don't know what you're doing. And then lane and phase. Lane and phase and the end game macro can be like interchangeable, because if you smash every single lane, you're probably just going to win the game anyway. But you could also throw with a shit Baron call. So, you know, they kind of go hand in hand, is to try and do those. But onto your point of, do you think it's better to have players that adapt to what the coach wants, or a coach that adapts to each player? I think it's better to just have 5 players. It doesn't matter how good they are, that just want to win, or like want to get better. Because it's a very, like, you can tell people very, very simple things, and they'll be at the top of gold plat in VL. Easily.
What are those very simple things? Because everyone watching right now, the Silver Gold community, the Hardstuck Silver one, genuinely. And then there's
Ruben,
cunts
I thought you signed an NDA. Shut up.
There's cunts like me that have been fucking bouncing between Gold 2 and Gold 3, genuinely been trying to get plat for 3 years. What would you say then that puts people to the top of gold? What are those very simple things?
The simplest thing is to not autopilot. Just think about what you're doing. Because I see so many people that just turn their brain off, hard shove every wave, and then they just dive for some reason, and they just insta-die. But if you think, what am I doing? Is it the correct thing to do? Or why am I doing it? What's the advantage? What's the disadvantage? Then you can slowly teach yourself the game. And I think being able to teach yourself the game is the easiest thing to do. If you can do that. If you can't, then
Turn on
don't die.
And just hope.
Then do everything you can to not die. Wait for the enemy to make a mistake, and then just kill them.
Okay, listen, Ruben. That's a good idea, but then you end up with a player like Byron Villa, and you don't want that kind of player.
Oh well, then if I had a player like Byron Villa, the man, the myth, the legend, I'd say shove every wave, and then you'll have a 30 CS advantage, because nobody can farm under tower for some reason, because they're all garbage. So, and then when you've got 30 CS advantage, you're like, what is that? Like, I don't know, that's quite a lot of gold.
And that's what I've
like
been doing in
800
top lane
gold.
with her earlier. She's so easy to last hit with. It's great.
Yeah, If you got hold item advantage on someone, it's happy days, and then you just win the game anyway because you've just made more money than the enemy.
I will say, just quickly, if anyone does want to coach me top lane and make me that top tier gold top laner that I'm sure you see inside of me, feel free to hit me up.
Byron,
I'm down. Yo,
Play Vlad.
I mean, true, but I've already have a set of dog stamps established here. I'm trying to keep to a not a huge pool because then that ends up like I was mid lane where I was trying to dabble in all these different styles, and really, I know where my strengths were.
Wait, what rank are you at the moment?
I'm gold 3. I was gold 4 in mid lane, like pretty much hard to gold 4. Search top lane, I'm already gold 3.
Play Garen and Darius.
Yeah, I play
Trinda.
Garen. I play Darius.
And
yeah.
also learn Vladimir, and then you'll get the diamond.
Vladimir is such a pub stomper. It's insane. Even in solo queue, as long as the backline, like the backline can be behind 3 tanks, and you just ult them with Nimbus Cloak, and you get to the backline with your W. It's
Yeah,
stupid.
I could do Vladimir, but I have Nasus, and it's just like I feel like Nasus is even more of a stomper.
Nasus gets kited, especially when you get closer to platinum.
You just sit in the side lane, and then you either have like 2-3 people come over who you probably dick on anyways, or you just get 3 towers.
Well,
Like,
it depends what you're good at. If you're good at split pushing,
Yeah.
then I would say drop
Yorick.
Nasus anyway and play Yorick or Tryndamere, and then you'll win games because people don't know how to deal with split pushing.
and to be honest, I don't really know my strengths are on top lane.
Tryndamere is especially like if you're first pick, don't pick Tryndamere. If the enemy team has nothing except maybe like a pretty hard route or a slow or like a slow, just fucking go for Tryndamere because if they don't have any CC, you're just literally gonna run them down.
Yeah. Or lock in Master Yi.
I was
Oh.
thinking
The
the
real
same
one.
thing.
Yeah, but yeah, he doesn't play fucking jungle. Anyway.
You don't have to play junk. You pick him top.
Master Yi top is actually fun as fuck. I'm not gonna lie.
Do what I said, Byron. Shove every wave. 30 CS lead, run them down at 80 minutes. 80 minutes?
you
Yeah,
shove
if the
them
game
in-
lasts 80 minutes, and you're
Wait,
6
my
waves.
only issue with shoving in the lane and top lane is that it's a long lane, and junglers, when they see you shoved in, they're like, "Ooh, that's
Have you
a
considered
spice to
placing a
me."
ward?
You shove in the lane, they're gonna fucking freeze it, and then you're gonna be down 30 CS by 10
No,
minutes.
you're thinking too high level. We're at Byron either right now. That shit's irrelevant.
I mean, there are Smurfs still.
I mean, I guess.
I'm coming
but,
into your
Smurfs
gold
aren't
3
too
games,
high-
dude.
I don't really have much of a problem dealing with Smurfs for the most part, unless they're playing like a very oppressive champion. But even then, I just play Byron. Like the issue is actually like, but if I'm against a player who's really bad, it's punishing that I have a lot more issues with than it is like playing safe versus a fucking Kled one trick who's diamond 3 or something.
It
That's-
literally, once you learn wave management, you can, as soon as you start playing like your elo again, you're like, oh shit, this guy made that mistake or that mistake. You might not be able to capitalize on it, but you slowly see yourself like, and I think that's awesome because you see yourself improving by seeing other people's mistakes,
Oh yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
sort of the fun part.
I do get off a lot to seeing myself pop off, so yeah, I'm down with that one.
Oh, 5-man Karma ultimate.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shields.
I mean, I got a pentakill in the league yesterday. I was buzzing. Granted, it was
Oh.
not yesterday, on Thursday. Granted, it was against Bob. But fuck me, I was wank material for the past 3 days.
I know.
Sivir?
Wait, who did you play?
Zaya.
Sivir. Oh,
Oh!
Basically, Sivir 2.0, but
wait.
Wait,
Oh
did you
yeah.
have a
Fuck.
Did you have
Yeah,
a
it was
Rakan or not?
Branch, right?
I think
No,
he had
wait.
Rakan. Yeah, I think he had Rakan.
You're,
Either-
okay, never
Yeah,
mind. You're suddenly
you were getting
disgusting.
peeled out your ass. That was insane.
Yeah,
Nobody
bro.
could get onto you. You were just
Exactly.
fucking sitting in the back with W, just like.
That's literally how you play Zaya.
You got it.
You don't die, then the assassin or the hard engaged champion like tries to go on you. You press R, and then they've got nothing else, and you continue to press W. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, and then you just E and one shot their entire backline because some people are just so thick, especially in lane when you're playing Xayah. They don't notice the feathers at all.
Oh, it's
You can like
brilliant.
spam 5 feathers onto people, and they're like, "Let me just walk into them real quick," and that's half their HP, and then the support goes off them.
Fucking shit.
Oh, it's stupid.
Fucking true. So before we go, we're gonna go for our predictions for next week's games
Oh fuck.
for your 2 teams. And then we'll go for our predictions of our eventual winners, so Byron can get involved too. So,
Get into tournament.
Elo Thieves, I'll talk about my game first. WSL versus Vivid Visions. WSL currently 2-3, 0-3 first week, 2-0 second week after the jungle change, but don't get bans for the game with Visions. Visions currently 2-1. Not sure who they dropped the game against, so only played 3 games compared to our 5, same amount of wins. And I get to play against Luke in bot lane in the league game.
No, you don't. He's banned
Luke's banned.
for 1 game.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah.
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 Oh yeah, him and Val. That was fun. That was interesting.
I've not actually seen that. So, given the fact Luke's not playing, they'll have to find a sub. I'm going to give WSL a win on that one. I think we're making improvements. I just said, Ruben, communication the key thing. We've finally got that one sorted. Who've PMA got?
We have Bob and Ike. So kind of opposite end of the spectrum here. I was gonna say that WSL looked like the team elite of GP.
Yeah,
I think that you started off a bit so, but I think I can see improvements definitely.
Yeah, I think with WSL, I mean, I'm lucky enough to know a lot of the members, to be honest, and it's the case that there are a lot of big voices, a lot of people who are very set in the way they want to play the game. I think once that's kind of settled and people understand where people are at, that team will be a lot better. It's just letting people kind of understand, okay, this is where people are at. This is how we want to kind of play the game, and because realistically, no, unless you have like the perfect 5 people, like I think 100 Club were very lucky to have in Shell 2, you're never gonna have like instant synergy where it's just all work out and everyone's playstyle just all suits each other. Like, you've got to find that, and I feel like WSL they're on the way to finding that. I wouldn't say they're there yet, 100%, but they're on their way.
That's pretty accurate.
They just need to understand that the alpha male Drigger is the one calling the shots.
They're right. Bang
No,
on.
I mean, PMA had the same problem. Ryan is our primary shot caller usually, but sometimes it just pisses me off when it's just complete silence, especially during fights. And people are like, oh, just go into this person, and it's like silent for 5 seconds, and then I just start saying shit, and they're like, shut up.
Guys, it's a fight. Quiet.
Yeah.
This is a library. Calm down.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got Ike and Bob. Go on, let's go through it. Bob.
I would say game of the week next week is going to be PMA versus Ike. I would say that. With I think Bob. I honestly haven't seen them play yet. Hopefully we win. I can't say how hard. Yeah, I actually have no clue about Bob. Ike is gonna be definitely interesting because I think Cald's got a bit. Wait, it's Cald, right?
Cald,
No.
yeah, Cald, yeah.
It is Cald, yeah. I've seen him play and he seems pretty good, but he's also got a bit of an ego on him.
He won't have that
think.
ego after I clapped him last week. Don't worry about that.
Ooh. I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting to see how Wanty plays against our mid laner, because our mid laner's been popping off in scrims, and it's gonna be interesting to see what we draft. And I think it's gonna be a fun one to watch if it's streamed. I'm not actually sure.
They've not decided yet. But,
They've not decided yet.
Yeah,
We're
they should.
working on it.
They totally should. Byron,
Actually, let me chat real quick. Give me a sec.
fucking stream that shit.
Make it
Match
happen.
of the week. Make a hype video. Get copy on it.
I mean, that's Laudio said Dave was the best mid laner. Everyone thought I could have the best mid laner. Turns out it's not Endeavor, it's Wanty, but we'll see how that one goes. I think Wanty is very, very good. Be interesting.
Yeah, Ike was really weird.
That's all you've got to do.
Ike was so weird. When I tried out for Ike, it was like Impress support. I think it was Dopa. I didn't think he was playing top, and it was Endeavor mid. And then all of a sudden, it's just fucking everybody's everybody's out. Yeah, everybody's just swapping. Speaking of swapping, Looney wanted me to play mid one game. That didn't work out. I think it was against VGR. He told me to play Vladimir mid, and then we just decided not to do that.
Yeah.
Sent the AD carry mid.
That's a good idea. Ruben,
Yeah.
who've Ike got? Not Ike, Elo Thieves. Who've Elo Thieves got?
We got VGR and Bob.
Bob with a little bit of a tough schedule. They're 0-5 or whatever it is so far. Might be getting a little bit worse. Predictions?
Don't know. I don't think VGR are very good, so I think we'll beat them. And then Bob's Bob. So.
I agree.
What? So you're saying you're gonna lose?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm saying it's a doomed match.
Yeah.
Match of the week.
I really want to see Bob, like, just one season. Bob's gonna slowly become a meme over time. Then one season they're just gonna get a bunch of, like, go full Dodak and just.
Yeah.
Yeah, just bring in what's his face, John Wick mid lane. It'll just be popping.
Rengar OTP, here we go.
There we go.
Oh, Dodak, that was so funny. Dodak,
Yeah.
fucking 0 mastery point Jackson Ramus. They're like, oh, first time. They just stomp the fucking game.
So
Sorry.
we'll go through it. We'll do our predictions for who we're gonna think is gonna win the end of the split. Just so it's
Okay.
fucking on record. This is who you think is gonna win.
Wait, like in order or just who's gonna win?
Just who's gonna win, not the order.
Alright.
Being honest, I think your best bets are probably PUK for me at the moment as it stands. Ruben, we'll go for you next.
PMA.
Last.
I haven't actually been watching most of the games. I would say either PUK.
I want one
yeah.
name.
Oh
Last.
fucking hell! Hey, Ruben got two.
No, he said
Wait.
PMA.
Oh wait, no, fuck.
Yeah, you've
shut up.
got one choice.
PMA.
PMA. Byron,
Okay,
the one that everyone really wanted
I'll
to
go
hear.
through my reasonings from like the top 6. So we got WSL. I think, like I said, I think you guys are getting there in terms of understanding where people's playstyles are. But I can't help but feel someone's mental in that team is gonna go boom. There's a lot of volatile members there, and something's gonna happen. Someone's gonna say some shit, and things are gonna go boom. I hate to say it, I don't think WSL are gonna win the split.
Fine.
Ike, I mean, I had confidence in Ike going forward, but my issue was the Dopa student, right? I look at him, and I've talked to him. He's an incredibly smart player. Then I watched Silverback play against him, and he fucking dumpstered him. It was disgusting. So, like, if he's supposed to be a flat spot, you can't be getting dumpstered by Silverback. Like, come on.
The best way to beat Ike is leave Aatrox open, let Dopa pick Aatrox, and then he can't play Aatrox. It's fucking brilliant. Great player,
Like,
can't play Aatrox.
like, I don't know. I feel like Ike are a little too inconsistent for me. I think they have the potential to pop off. They have the players for it. It's just I don't see them doing it on a consistent enough schedule to be able to, win the split. I feel like, so we got top 4. I mean, Vigorous are decent. Like, they're consistent on one hand, but once again, like, I don't think they'll have that ceiling. And here's the difference. There'll be some teams that have the ceiling, but then are just really consistent. And there'll be teams that just don't have the ceiling, but are a consistent team. I think Vigorous are quite a steady team. And it leads us to what PUK, who is still kind of an unknown for me. I feel like if it happens to the jungler, I feel that they have a very good shot. And I feel like because of the fact that they're not really unknown, but they are unknown, as the name suggests, I think that gives them an edge at the start of the split. And having that kind of thing can help. Like, such as TSP, for example, I think it can go well for them. I think I give it to PUK. PMA and ELFs are definitely like second and third, like, respectively. But like PUK just seem like right now, if they're able to get themselves together, like I don't know if they have a coach or not. If they do have a coach, then that helps tremendously. And I think I could.
Yeah,
I just
got
see
Rock.
them win the split.
Yeah, they've got
Yeah,
Rock
exactly.
coaching
Yeah,
PUK.
Rock's a smart guy, so I can imagine PUK taking it over. I think that's my prediction right now. Subject to change, of course, if they go boom and if the jungle.
Yeah, let's see how long they last.
decides-
I mean, Kraft's been popping off from what I've seen.
Yeah, Kraft's a good player, and another smart player. Like he knows a lot about the game. I respect that.
Especially seeing where he was in CL, playing T-Doggy, playing his Lissandra mid lane, to where he is now.
Lissandra player.
It's
Back to Lissandra.
it's
Playing Akali.
pretty impressive to see. So, boys, have you got any last words for the podcast before we say goodbye to episode 5/4, whichever one the fuck this is? The title, we'll say.
Ruben, you first.
What? No, I didn't say I had anything to say.
Yes, you
go
do.
first.
No, fuck off.
Ruben, what have you got to say?
Yeah,
Ruben, it's
Ruben.
flame someone. Flame someone.
Flame someone.
Everyone's gonna flame someone. There we go. That's gonna be our last words.
VGR should not have put Ram as their ADC. They had a much better option in the tryouts, and I think they've made the wrong choice, and it'll cost them.
Hey, Ram popped off in Silver Gold. I haven't seen him play though in GP.
All right. Okay.
Byron,
I'll go.
I got flame someone. This is new territory for
for the worst made in VL.
Who do you want on Lysandra duty?
I took that so hard.
Who do you want on Lysandra duty?
Who do I want on Lysandra GT? Oh, fucking hell. I mean, I feel like from what I've heard from a lot of the 100 Cobra lads, especially the guys on Ike, they apparently they missed me because they don't have someone who actually follows the calls and is willing to int. So I'm saying Ike mid laner, get on Lysandra duty. They need it, man.
Ooh,
I heard it from their mouth. They need that Lysandra. They need that man who's going to go in, ult, and waste about 10 seconds of the enemy time knowing that they're going to die. Get on that Lysandra, man.
There you go. Wanty. New worst mid in VL. Get your motherfucker on Lysandra. Last. Flame someone.
Flame Looney for putting me on Vlad duty.
Get me out of here. That's not flame. That's just help.
I don't fucking know what to say. Dude, Looney's got like 7 backup insults for me if I ever go onto him. He's ready. He has a wall full of shit to say. He has like a blackmailing list.
Oh, Looney's a master shit talker. Like,
yeah, I mean he's got like you can't argue with that man.
Then again, he did get solo killed by the worst one in VL, so it is what it is.
There you go.
I'm gonna flame Spunners for constantly dying to Scion passive.
Yo, wait. I'll tell you what. That's something else I want to say. These fucking idiots. Okay. VVS versus who was it? The game streamed first last week. VVS versus I don't know who it was. They're the worst 2 top laners I've ever seen. They should have been in silver gold, and even then they would have been at the bottom of that. I saw. Oh my god! Someone was 1 auto attack from Dan. He was in range to auto attack as Urgot.
Oh, the Urgot! Yeah, that was.
And then he died to Scion passive. Unreal.
Let's see if I can find here.
Claytrons versus Villagers.
Yeah, Claytrons.
Yeah,
Claytrons are still sort of an unknown for me as well.
I don't know all that.
Ruben, you remind me of Cutie Pie. Just like, I don't know.
I actually died to that. I can just imagine.
Literally the opposite, but bar that, I mean, yeah, fair.
I can just imagine the Urgot's mic just being constant monotone screaming as the Scion's running after him.
And
Dude, yeah.
I'm to end the podcast. Who should I flame? I might join you in flaming Ram. The guy said he thinks he's a better AD carry than me, and then if you go back and look at the fucking match history, I've got 3 times as much damage at the end of the game. Okay.
Sivir.
Yeah. They won the game, and I still had that much more damage than him. But
you're playing Sivir.
Yeah, I was playing Sivir.
You no shit. You're doing more damage when you're playing Sivir.
He was playing Caitlyn into Sivir in laning phase. He's meant to get more damage than me. Come on, bro. Anyway, I'm flaming Ram. Thinks he's better AD carry than me when he's just not. Boys, it's been the Light Rip Podcast. Cheers for coming on. It's been Ruben, it's been Byron, it's been Last, and it's been your boy X Trigger. Over and out. Peace. You fuckers thought I was done? No way, mate. No way. I wasn't done. Remember, this is a recorded episode, which means none of you fuckers watched it on Twitch. Which means all of you fuckers that watch it better fucking like it. How about that shit, eh? How about that shit? Remember to like that goddamn like button, yeah? Hit subscribe and press that bell that's down below for notifications when I upload new videos to the YouTubes. How about that shit, boys? How about that shit? No, seriously. If we can get like 30 likes, right? That's realistic, isn't it? 30 likes. 30 likes for each of the podcasts. Both of them. What? 2? You heard. you heard, for each of the podcasts, 30 likes, I will upload a new podcast tomorrow. What? Tomorrow, because it's past midnight, not really, but because it is past midnight, that means on Tuesday. How about that, right? How about that? New podcast tomorrow. If we get 30 likes on each. If we don't, well, we just do it as soon as you do. Sorted. Fuck you lot. Ah, fuck me, man. I'm drunk.